Welcome to Lit and Unfiltered by My Element, the podcast where real talk meets cannabis culture. Whether you're lighting up for wellness, relaxation, or curiosity, this is the space for raw, unfiltered conversations that go beyond the buzz. In every episode, we'll spark discussions that keep it real, give you the facts and push boundaries. No fluff, no filler. Just real talk about the cannabis revolution happening right now. So roll with us, kick back, and let's dive into another lit conversation. Proudly brought to you by My Element Electric Lighters. Make your own flame. Now to your hosts, Jax and Mia.
So you're curious about what's next for cannabis, huh? Well, get ready, because it's so much bigger than just, the old ways. We're talking next level wellness stuff, tech that seems straight out of sci-fi, even biohacking with cannabis. Yeah, you heard that right. Cannabis-infused cocktails, strains designed by AI. It's a whole new world out there.
It's incredible, isn't it? The speed at which this whole industry is changing. It's really remarkable. This isn't just some fad. This feels different, like a total shift in how people see and use cannabis.
Totally. And speaking of changing perceptions, everywhere I look now, it's cannabis this, cannabis that, especially when it comes to things like wellness.
Yeah.
Cannabis-infused drinks, skincare is really more than just a passing trend.
It's definitely having its moment, that's for sure. And I think it makes sense. Think about energy drinks, right? What started as kind of a niche thing, now it's everywhere. Huge industry. And you see that same idea with these cannabis drinks, the teas, the sparkling waters, even those fancy mocktails popping up. It's all about making cannabis part of your everyday, in a way that feels approachable and maybe even a little fancy.
And it's not just drinks. This whole cannabis skincare thing, it's blowing up. CBD especially. Everyone's saying it's like a miracle ingredient.
CBD in the beauty world is definitely having its moment. Serums, face masks, you name it, it's probably got CBD in it these days. But here's the thing. There's actually real science backing it up. Like, did you know studies have shown that CBD can actually reduce inflammation and redness, especially for people with eczema? It's not just height. It really can help with certain skin problems.
Okay, now that's pretty cool. But with all this new stuff, are we saying goodbye to, the old school way of using cannabis?
Smoking might become less common, yeah. But here's where tech comes in. It's all about alternatives. For example, cannabis inhalers. Have you heard of those? They're getting pretty popular.
Like what people use for asthma?
That's the one. But instead of medicine, it's a measured dose of cannabinoids and no smoke or anything. Discreet, and you've got way more control than with, traditional methods. Think about it like the shift from cigarettes to vapes, but for, cannabis.
Less smoke, more tech. I'm into it. But it gets even more high-tech than that, right? I keep hearing about this wearable cannabis technology. What is that exactly?
Now, that's where it gets really interesting. It's still early stages, but picture this.
Right?
A patch, kind of like a nicotine patch, right? But it delivers controlled doses of cannabinoids throughout the day. Think of the possibilities, especially for, say, medical marijuana patients. Consistent relief, that's huge.
Oh, yeah, that would be game-changing. But let's talk about how, the average person can use all this microdosing thing. People are using tiny amounts of cannabis for focus and creativity. That doesn't sound right.
Right. You wouldn't think so. Not with, everything we used to associate with cannabis. But that's the thing about this plant. It's more complex than we thought. And yeah, microdosing, it's a thing, especially in the professional world. People using it to focus better, manage stress, even get those creative juices flowing. They're using cannabis to fine-tune their performance, not to escape from it.
So instead of that second cup of coffee slump, maybe we're all reaching for a microdose in the future.
Wouldn't that be something? And it speaks to this bigger trend. Cannabis is a tool for, optimizing your well-being. And it's not just microdosing either. Biohackers, they're all over it. We're seeing people experiment with mixing cannabis, especially CBD, with nootropics, those supplements designed to boost your brain power.
So in the future, cannabis could be helping people crush it at work and then sleep like a baby.
That's pretty wild to think about, right? But, before we go full sci-fi future, we got to talk about, the whole sustainability thing.
Right. Of course, the environmental impact. With all this growth and innovation, is it even possible to, make all these cannabis products in a way that's good for the planet?
Totally. That's a huge focus right now, making sure things are sustainable. A lot of companies are moving towards things like organic farming and, get this, regenerative agriculture. So basically, it's all about keeping the soil healthy and full of life instead of, depleting it. And packaging, Some companies are even starting to use like hemp-based bioplastics.
Whoa, so it's like green for green. I love that, but it's bigger than just growing it responsibly, right?
Right.
I mean, there's so much you could do with hemp itself. Clothes, building materials, even cleaning up pollution.
It's crazy, right, what they can do with this plant. Hemp fibers, they're super strong, super durable, so you can use them for like pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Textiles, obviously, but also these biocomposites, super strong materials. You can actually make building materials out of hemp that are, get this, even stronger than concrete and steel.
Hold on, are you serious? Building houses out of hemp? Okay, now that's a trip. So,
Yeah.
like, what's the advantage of using that over, the usual stuff?
Yeah, no, it's a thing. Hempcrete, they call it. And it's basically like a concrete, but made with hemp. And yeah, it's becoming a big deal for, eco-friendly building. It's lightweight, fire-resistant, and naturally regulates temperature. Oh, and get this. Hemp crops actually absorb CO2 from the atmosphere while they grow.
So it's not just, like, not harmful. It's actually helping to, like, reverse climate change.
Exactly. That's the idea.
Mind-blowing. Seriously,
Yeah.
It's like, what can't we do with this plant? Eco-friendly farming, crazy strong materials. What's next?
Well, it probably can't write this podcast for us, although with
Oh.
how much AI is popping up in the cannabis world, who knows?
Wait, AI and cannabis? Now, that's an interesting combo. Tell me more about that.
So picture this. AI algorithms, right? Analyzing tons of data to create these like hyper-specific cannabis strains, each one tailored for something different. So say you want a strain that helps you focus but without the jitters, right? AI could help develop that. Or maybe you need something to unwind after a crazy day. AI could create the perfect cannabinoid and terpene profile for, a perfect night's sleep.
So it's like having a personal cannabis chemist, but it's all algorithms instead of, beakers and test tubes.
Exactly. Personalized cannabis on a whole other level.
Wow. Okay, so what about actually buying this stuff? Are we going to be getting our AI-designed cannabis from, like, AI bud tenders anytime soon?
Honestly, it's not that crazy. Some dispensaries are already using AI to improve the whole experience. Imagine walking into a dispensary and this like virtual bud tender pops up and it like guides you through all these personalized recommendations based on like what you want to feel, how you like to consume cannabis, even your tolerance level.
That would make those first dispensary visits way less intimidating.
This is all just incredible. We've gone from like cannabis cocktails to biohacking to building houses out of hemp. It's just, wow, it feels like we've only just scratched the surface. It really is amazing. Like we're watching this whole new world unfold right in front of us. So with all this happening so fast, what do you think? What are the biggest changes this whole cannabis revolution will, bring about? Not just for the industry itself, but for like everyone.
I think you're going to see cannabis become, like, a regular part of everyday life in ways we wouldn't have even, like, dreamed of a few years ago. Seriously. From totally personalized wellness routines to, like you said, using hemp to build houses, the potential impact is huge.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. Cannabis-infused drinks, skincare, microdosing, even building materials. What a trip, right? And honestly, we've barely scratched the surface. I think the biggest takeaway here is just how quickly things are changing in this industry. It's incredible. This plant, it can do so much more than we ever realized, and that's what's so exciting. There are so many possibilities.
I'm definitely walking away from this with a whole new perspective on cannabis, that's for sure. So I guess my final question for you is, like, what's your biggest takeaway from all this? What do you think is the most important thing for people to understand as this, like, cannabis revolution unfolds?
For me, it all comes down to changing how we think about cannabis. We're moving away from all these outdated ideas and starting to see it for what it is, this incredibly versatile tool for wellness, for technology, even for creating a more sustainable future. And I think it shows us that we're always learning, always discovering new things about this plant.
It's been awesome exploring all this with you. Before we go, one last thought for our listeners. What part of all this has you the most intrigued? What questions do you still have? Keep those brains buzzing, because there's a whole lot more to discover.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Lit and Unfiltered by My Element. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation and picked up some fresh insights on cannabis culture. Also, don't forget to check out myelement.store for our full range of electric lighters and accessories, designed with style, sustainability, and free lifetime replacement in mind. Still here? Cool. Here's an exclusive heads up just for our listeners. We've got a flash sale coming soon with over 50% off select lighters as well as some wild giveaways. You won't want to miss it. Head over to myelement.store. Join the crew and keep an eye on your inbox for the details. Until next time, keep it lit. My Element. Make your own flame.